Now to the latest on injured Buffalo Bills player Damar Hamlin. He remains in critical condition today with signs of improvement.
Yeah, that coming from the Buffalo Bills, saying there were some signs of improvement overnight. We do want to welcome back to the station. Welcome back to Erie, Isaac Petkac, again, just arriving in town really just minutes ago. You were sent to Cincinnati, obviously, Monday night to cover the game. You did not expect this, a couple-day visit there.
I don't think any of us did.
Right.
And I'll tell you, Karen, Amanda, we love covering the NFL for a game. And when you're inside the press box, you have 300 to 400 media members who are supposed to know everything, right? We know all the information. We know everything that's supposed to go down. We didn't know anything Monday night. And the scene there, watching him on the turf, not moving, and CPR being done, you have your defibrillator that's on the field. It was a scary sight.
Isaac, is that something that you could see from where you were? Because as we watched it from home, we were sheltered from that.
Yeah,
but we were wondering about people in the stands and media like you.
So you can see a couple of things that indicate that CPR is being done. You see the teams around the player, and many grown men in their 20s and 30s are crying.
I know.
Yeah.
You have trainers that, I kid you not, were running from the sideline in a dead sprint to the field to grab whatever equipment that they needed. And we actually did see at one point an IV bag being hooked up to Hamlin's arm. So you do see those things, but you don't see them up close. And that's the scary part of it, in the fact that you're not right there. So you know something's wrong,
right.
You know something is scary, but you're not there, and you don't know completely what's going on about leaving in the dark.
And Isaac, you're relatively new to this business,
Right.
I'd say.
Right.
So you were there in the press box with reporters who've been doing this for 30, 40 years.
Right.
What were they saying?
Same thing, nothing. I mean,
Yeah.
again, it doesn't matter the experience that you
Right.
had. It was the fact that nobody had any idea. And once the teams left the field to go into the locker room, we didn't know whether we needed to go down to the locker room to see if we could get an interview with the coach. We didn't know to stay up in the press box if they were going to restart the game. Nobody had any idea until it came out about an hour later that the game would be suspended. And that was the challenging part, is that we knew that there was something wrong. We didn't realize, though, how bad it was until he got to the hospital. And at that point, the next 24 hours really became arguably the scariest 24 hours the NFL has seen in decades.
Right. And so you had live reports for us yesterday during this hour and throughout the evening here on Erie News Now. There really haven't been many updates from the hospital, though, since yesterday.
No, just a couple. They've been a slow trickle is the terminology that I've used, and it's been the same condition throughout the last 72 hours. It's critical condition. He's in the ICU at the moment, being tended to hour by hour, minute by minute. But as you mentioned earlier today, slow progress was what was mentioned by the Buffalo Bills, and we haven't heard that terminology before. A couple of Hamlin's family members came out in the last 24 hours and said they see some signs of progress. They were talking about the oxygen that he had to be using on a ventilator. It went from 100% to 50%, and that's a good sign. It means he can breathe a little bit more normally on his own. They do think there might be some lung damage, but from the looks of it, and we're not trying to speculate, it looks like he will pull through. The question is when and how long and how much damage will be done, considering the extent of the injury.
Now, Isaac, obviously the story resonates with us here. He's a Pittsburgh kid.
Right.
He plays for the Bills, so we're kind of in the midst here. Are you surprised at all with how far the support for this guy? I mean, around the world, really, people have been really invested into this story.
I am shocked, Kara and Amanda, of the fact of how quickly the city of Cincinnati came together to support. I mean, we know the fundraiser for his toy drive, which is now at over $5.5 million out of a $2,500 goal. But more than that, being in the city of Cincinnati, everything you could have possibly imagined in terms of support for Damar Hamlin has happened. Whether it's candlelit vigils, whether it's people on the streets, literally in the middle of the city, holding up signs, say, pray for Damar. And just last night, we saw, if you drive through the city of Cincinnati, Paycor Stadium, which is where they play their games, was lit up completely blue for Hamlin. Right. All the buildings and the skyscrapers were lit up blue and red. It was hard to imagine a scene of that much support, considering the fact that just 48 hours ago, this is a rivalry.
Right.
This was going to be the biggest game in the AFC for the #1 seed, two teams that hated each other coming in, and in the span of an hour, it changes.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. In my opinion, it started with the Cincinnati Bengals, when the two coaches came together and conversed, when you saw Joe Burrow going to Josh Allen to console him, when you saw the teams going into the locker room to console the Buffalo Bills players. I think it started there, and it resonated around the world.
And really quickly, remember, this is the NFL. They don't cancel games. They don't postpone games. The #1 focus is football, and that's been been a criticism in the past.
Right.
The fact that those two coaches came together and said, we're not playing this game, the focus is on Damar Hamlin, that alone should show you how critical this incident is.
It also made you kind of realize we're all humans, you know. You may be this fan, I may be this fan, but we're all, you know, humans at our core and have families and kids, and great coverage, Isaac.
Yeah, we do
Appreciate it.
appreciate those live shots yesterday.
Thanks for being
Were
here.
great.